Welcome to Three Blind Mics Podcast, sponsored by the Family Proud, Family Strong Network. Follow their journey as John J., the real hot rod, Cleach and Portis the assassin deliver the bottom line on the greatest pop culture entertainment debates of then and now. The Three Blind Mics won't know the topic of the show until the show begins, which surely will lead to an unscripted and uncensored good time. Now, let's go in blind on the road to nowhere. Welcome back, folks, to another Three Blind Mics podcast. I am your host, John J., the real hot rod, and I said John J., the real hot rod. And with me today, folks, is Portis the assassin, my brother-in-law, co-host. How you doing, Portis?
I'm great. I am so great. Hopefully I don't have to pee during this this episode. Which I don't know.
Just take the phone with you.
Oh, okay. I'll do that. I'm a gentleman. I don't want to subject the viewing public to sounds of that. But I will say this, and I don't know. We've talked about this on this show. It seems like every time that I have to use the bathroom, like outside, like, I mean, it's like imminent, and I'm just talking like peeing. That's the only thing I'm talking about, peeing. It's like there's no traffic, there's no activity on the block, and I'm like, oh, this will be a good spot. Let me just and I kind of pull over.
Oh my gosh!
And that is exactly when a car comes down the road, and I'll be like, Gah! I mean, it happens without fail. It's like maybe 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, and it's a dark little cul-de-sac or something like that. And I swear, every time a car will come down the road, and you'll get the kind of look like, oh my God, really? And I'll be like, and then nothing. No, it's like it's a deserted town. You see the little that thing that kind of billows in the, what is that thing that in the old westerns it would like
sure,
the sagebrush or whatever, it would like anyway. Yeah, I'm all right. I don't think I have to pee right now.
Alrighty. And today, folks, are filling again. The fill-in, Mr. Fried Rice, who is filling in once again for Cleach, who, well, that's another podcast, folks, is Mr. Fried Rice. Mr. Fried Rice, welcome back to the show.
It's good to be back.
That's all you got to say? That's it? Yeah. It's good to be back. Okay, well, I'll hold you to that, Fried Rice.
All right. All righty then. All right, folks, as you know, we don't know what the topic of the show is going to be until the show begins, okay? So we all previously came up with a bunch of topics, and we put them into the randomizer, randomizer.com, and we're going to go to that right now. So let's see what the topic is going to be. Here we go. Boom. All right, it's coming. And the topic is, this is one of mine, and this is going to be a good one, folks. All right, here we go. Is Sylvester Stallone a good actor? And you know what? I have a lot to say about that, but I'm going to hold my reservations right now. And, you know, we're going to do something a little different, and we're going to give it to Mr. Fried Rice first. Because Mr. Fried Rice, even though he's in a different generation, he knows some of the Sylvester Stallone movies because we watched them together. Mr. Fried Rice, do you think Mr. Stallone is a good actor?
I wouldn't necessarily consider him a good actor just because all the roles he plays are pretty much very similar to each other, and so you could just like, you can't tell the difference between like each character he plays. But I mean, the roles he has had, he does like a phenomenal job in. So that is that.
Okay. Well, we have Pulse One. Okay. Yeah. What about you, Assassin? Well, first of all, the assassin who once drunk 4 gallons of milk and only 1 quart came out. Assassin?
Yeah, well, you know what? It's actually good that you brought that up because I have to buy some milk.
Oh my God.
Thank you for doing that. I have to buy some milk.
Yeah.
That's all my sons drink is milk.
Mm.
And I always get the text like, "Hey, can you pick up some milk?" And sometimes I'm pulling in the driveway, and I'll be like, "Of course, let me just go and get the milk." But okay, let's stay on topic. Let's stay on point.
Yes,
Sylvester Stallone. I don't think Sylvester Stallone was ever. I think even he would tell you that he's not a great actor. He's been more known for his writing. I think he's a very good writer. And Rocky, of course, is the Mount Rushmore, the bee's knees, it's just everything. I mean, he'll even tell you that he hit a moment in his life when I think he was trying to get into The Godfather. Every Italian actor wanted to be in The Godfather, and he didn't get in it. He got cut, or they didn't accept him, or whatever. And he was at the lowest point in his life. And he went to see. The story is he goes to a theater to watch this Muhammad Ali fight with. And this, why don't you look this up, Fried Rice? Do something for the show. The inspiration for Rocky. Do a Google search. If we had Damas here, he would just quickly go like he's a savant. I can't think of the guy's name, but he sees this fight, and nobody expected this guy to even last one round with Muhammad Ali, and he ends up going to they had 15 rounds back then.
Yeah,
which they had too many rounds. I'll be the first to tell you that they should never have fought that many rounds.
Yeah,
ever.
Brain damage.
Yeah, but and nobody expected this guy to go as far as he did, and he did, and he was inspired to write the movie Rocky, which ended up just changing his life. It changed cinema. It won Best Picture. I think it won the 1977 Oscars, maybe
1977.
Yeah, and but he didn't win Best Actor. I mean, he's never been known to be a great actor. I would say that's probably his best seminal role. And then it's a great franchise. I would say the first, second, and third movie are really great. The fourth one's pretty good. It starts getting really cheesy, but okay, I'll go with you on that one. And the fifth one is just awful.
Yeah.
And then the sixth one is, I think, Rocky Balboa, and that's okay. His best acting performance, I think, outside of the Rocky franchise, is Copland. I don't know. Have you seen that movie?
Copland? No, I have not.
Oh yeah, he's great in Copland, and that he didn't write anything in that. He didn't conceive any of the characters, but that was kind of his his return to acting.
Yeah.
He had made all these really crappy movies. Demolition Man wasn't very good, and then what was that really awful one that he did? It was so bad. Judge Dredd.
Yeah,
is one of the worst movies you will ever see. I will
agree with that.
And it's so bad. This is how bad Hollywood is. Okay. I love how I get on my soapbox. Judge Dredd was such an awful movie that Hollywood decided, you know what? There's all these struggling filmmakers. There's all these great black filmmakers, African-American filmmakers. There's all these great filmmakers, but let's do another movie of one of the worst movies we've ever done. And they did another Judge Dredd, and it was actually worse than the first Judge Dredd. Because at least the first one, you have like Sandra Bullock and no, that's Demolition Man. The first one at least got some cachet or whatever, but the second one is just as bad. And I know we're on tangents now, but Copland is his best performance. I think it's better than his performances in the Rocky franchise. And then he was nominated again in Creed. And I thought they should have given him the Oscar, and they didn't. And so after that, I was like really kind of like, done with the Oscars, really. I mean,
Yeah.
in terms, I mean, they had a moment to kind of celebrate his career and that, and of course, they gave it to somebody you've never even heard of. Like, I think his name's Mark Everlance or something like that. Have you ever heard of Mark? Hey, fried rice. This will be great. Fried rice. Have you ever heard of like Mark Everlance or whatever his name is?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you know what, guys? I disagree with all y'all. Okay. Here's my take on Sylvester Stallone as an actor. Okay. And I know I'll probably get hate mail and whatever, but that's okay. I think Sylvester Stallone is one of the greatest actors alive. And here's why. He doesn't have to act. Sylvester Stallone is Sylvester Stallone. When he plays Rocky, Rambo, or any other characters, really, they shouldn't even name him like Rocky or whatever the character's name in the movie. They should just name him Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone is so good. He's not acting. That he's himself. And when you can play yourself in any role, you don't have to act. Now I
Wait.
know.
So he's the best actor because he doesn't have to act.
Absolutely. And I know that's hard for you for that to wrap around your young mind, young man.
No, I don't think it's because of my. It's not. That doesn't make sense.
Well, what doesn't make sense? If you don't have to act in order to act, then you're the best actor.
No. What?
Yeah, it's math. Add it up. Yeah, we just lost like 6 views.
No, can I just he at least he's contributing to the show. I give him a lot of credit for that. Didn't I ask you to do something?
Oh,
Like,
no. I did do it, and his name was Chuck Wepner. Chuck Wepner.
Chuck Wepner was the fighter that he based the movie Rocky on.
Yes.
And I actually didn't expect you to do any research on this, so I actually did some research, which I vowed never to do for this show. I looked up the fight, and I swear to you, they could never do this ever again. But the fight that Muhammad Ali had with Chuck Wepner, which inspired the movie Rocky, which inspired Sylvester Stallone, was after Ali reclaims the heavyweight title from George Foreman. So he has that epic match against George Foreman. It's called the Rumble in the Jungle. It's a great fight. And then he follows it up with a fight with this Chuck Wepner. And you know what the name of the fight was? It was, we had the Rumble in the Jungle. And this one was called Give the White Guy a Break. I swear to you,
No
the
way.
name of the fight was Give the White Guy a Break.
Oh my gosh.
And he knocks out Chuck Wepner in the 15th round. But also it inspired Rocky. But back to what you were saying.
Right. So, okay, in all honesty, I like Sylvester Stallone. I just like his charisma. He, like you said, Assassin, he's a great writer. Sure, he might not, to a lot of people be the greatest actor, but one of the things that he does in all of his films is he's very consistent on what he brings to the table, on what he's supposed to do in his acting, when of his parts of all his roles in this movie. He is one dimension. I will give you that. He's just real. I think he's just organic. He doesn't try to act, and I think he doesn't get a lot of credit as an actor. For his performances. He talks in a different way. He's slow or whatever like that, but he's a brilliant person.
I don't want to talk over you because
Sure, no, good.
I was threatened the last show. It's okay if Damas does it, but me, no, of course not. what I wanted to say about what you said is he's become a caricature,
Yes.
and because he is so known, Sylvester Stallone has become a character, and that slow Adrian A delivery that a million stand-up comics have done.
Yes.
He's become this caricature, and it's kind of lost on the fact that he's really a very good artist. Like
Yes.
he conceived. If he would have just made the first two Rockies, they would have gone down in history as probably one of the greatest sports sports movies ever.
Yeah.
Rocky 1 is fantastic, and the
Oh, it's
second
my
one is
favorite.
just as good.
Yeah.
And he wrote them. Like he wrote them. I think he directed one. He either directed two of them or one of them. Again, Fried Rice, could you do some work here and look that up? But it's lost about how great a writer and a real artist he was. The first Rambo is very good.
Oh my gosh, that was one of my favorite movies of all time. Rambo: First Blood.
And he doesn't have very much dialogue in it. It's almost
No,
like they forgot to give him any lines, and then someone said, "Oh gosh, we didn't give him any lines."
right. It
And
was
so at
more
the very
robotic,
end of the movie, he gives this long monologue where I
emotional.
think the beginning is he's like, "It's over," and he's like, "Nothing's over,
No, you're
nothing's
right.
over." But and that's the only part I know. But I mean, the caricature of Sylvester Stallone has hurt the actor and the artist Sylvester Stallone. Any thoughts, Fried Rice?
Yeah, no, actually, no, I wanted to go off when you said like it would go down in like one of the best sport movies ever. I saw a couple of days ago someone was like having a podcast with Sylvester Stallone, and he actually can't stand when people like say that Rocky was a sports movie.
What does he think it is?
You know, I kept scrolling. I only saw like
He can't. Zombie scroller.
So you're basically everything that we talked about in our last show, which was about how the internet is awful. You just approved it right there.
There you go.
yep.
Um, yeah, I mean, it might be a little trite to call it a sports film, but it is a sports film. It's the I'm sorry, Field of Dreams is a sports film. It's a great movie, but it's a sports movie.
Exactly.
Um, uh, you know, uh, Major League is a great comedy, but it's a sports movie. It's one of those things that it becomes, part of this genre. Sorry. Um,
Yeah.
I think what's lost is how, like, just groundbreaking Rocky was because it had no budget. He was lucky that he even got to make it. They were really taking a real chance. If you really, what's is almost as interesting about the movie Rocky is the making of the movie Rocky, because they were not gonna. I mean, they were really taking a huge chance putting this franchise or just even this film in the hands of a complete novice. I mean, he really didn't have much
Yeah.
to say for himself. I mean, there's even this urban legend, is that he dabbled in like pornography for a while,
Oh
which
yeah,
is
he did. I remember that.
I don't
That's
know
where you got
if
the
that's
Italian
actually
stallion from.
true. I know I don't know if it's true. Or I think I swear he was on Howard Stern and he admitted it.
Yeah, he did.
And then when he came out with Rocky, they called the movie The Italian Stallion because
Yeah.
he was a known name now. Before then,
Right.
of course, it was, it had like 6 viewers and they were all a bunch of guys in the back of a really seedy film movie house. But anyway, let's stay on topic. Yeah, I would say now, how do you feel like there's a shift change in the Rocky franchise since we're talking about Sylvester Stallone? There's a shift change, and it's also very current because MTV was coming out and Rocky 3 is coming out. And Rocky 3 and 4, you can see the hands of MTV all over. The fingerprints of MTV
Yeah,
are
riding on that
all
wagon.
over this. It's faster pace. It's not the kind of slow, kind of character driven, dialogue driven movie. It also has kind of like the soundtrack is very important in 3 and 4. Eye of the Tiger came out and it became this Survivor's biggest hit, and
It became one of the greatest workout
yeah,
musics
exactly.
ever.
And there would be these little montages where he's working out and he's training, and the first 2 movies don't really have that. And MTV's fingerprints are all over this.
Yeah.
That now we have to make it fast. We have to make it. We have to put music to it. We have to really make it look kind of almost like a music video in a way.
Yeah.
And in Rocky 3, who do we get in Rocky 3? Thunderlips.
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
If he's not in Rocky 3, do you think he would have still been the superstar that he was or is?
Actually, I don't think so, because, in order, and this is my opinion, in order to continue the Rocky franchise is, okay, you got 1 and 2 where they piggybacked, 2 piggybacked off 1, were great. Apollo, Creed, the greatest, feud of all time and everything. But in order to continue the franchise, you need to go ahead and change and adapt. You need to bring in some big stars in order to continue the franchise. Bringing in Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea, also known as Thunderlips and everything, I think that right there help make the Rocky franchise continue. Because then in Rocky 4, then you got Dolph Lundgren, the Russian assassin, okay, who Dolph Lundgren is a very known, actor, martial artist. He's played in with Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son, other actors, other martial artists, and everything. And that just, it kept on catapulting, for the franchise. Now, after Rocky 4, 5, and all the other ones, kind of went downhill and everything, because they did not. Well, no, what was the one with Tommy Morrison?
Oh yeah, Tommy Morrison is Rocky 5.
5,
and that movie is awful.
Yeah, I didn't really like that one, because
his son is in the movie, so
but
that was probably
yeah, his son's in the movie, and the one line with Rocky and his son, and he does that, like, talk with his son, about life and everything. I think I think it actually saved that movie.
Yeah, there's 2 moments in that movie.
Yes.
One is the little moment, and that's probably important for Sylvester Stallone, because unfortunately his son passed away.
Yeah.
And I can almost guarantee you, as a father, he watches that scene, or he can't watch it because it's just so personal to him. But
yeah,
there's 2 moments, the one that you just talked about, but there's a really great moment in Rocky 5. The rest of the movie's garbage, but there's a really great moment in Rocky 5, and that is when he's going back to the gym, and it's not the gym that it was when he was up and coming. And Burgess Meredith, who really does not get enough credit for the performance that he did in those movies.
He was so awesome, man.
He was dying. I think this is his last performance.
Yeah.
But he gives Rocky, it's a flashback scene. He gives Rocky these gold cufflinks, and he gives them to him as a gift.
Yeah.
And he said, Rocky Marciano gave me those cufflinks. And I think he says, when you're down and out, those little cufflinks are going to be like a little angel on your shoulder. And they're going to whisper in your ear. And they're going to say, get up, you son of a bitch. Because
you're right.
Mickey loves you. And then and that is to me like the best scene.
Yeah,
And then the rest of the movie's crap. Like it
I
really
know.
is not. I mean, he defeats Tommy Morrison in a street fight.
Right. But those, like you said, like those little moments kind of saved that movie. The rest is garbage in that.
Yeah.
But, fried rice, let me throw this to you and
Oh, and I did
everything.
want to say it's not
Oh,
Mark Everlance, it's Mark Rylance.
oh, yes, yes.
Mark Rylance. Like,
Yes.
do you know Mark Rylance fried rice?
No.
Okay.
Alrighty, fried rice.
Yeah, we
Now,
didn't need to look that up. But yeah, continue on.
yeah. So, I mean, let's change over to the Rambo franchise. Now, fried rice and I, father son time. We've basically watched all the Rambos, right? Fried rice.
Yeah.
Which one is your favorite?
That's really tough. It's between either the First Blood or the Last Blood.
Now, what is it? And I don't know what you're going to say. What is it about the Last Blood that you liked most about?
It's just like that moment where I'm not. Where his what is it? His niece? Was it someone? Was it his niece or something?
Yeah, his niece.
Where his niece like dies, and all of a sudden, he just like becomes some. He flips, and he basically turns his whole place he lived in into like a one big booby trap, and he just like grotesquely kills each and individual one of them.
But wait a minute, folks. He said grotesquely. What about the one part, fried rice, that you and I saw, and it was CC, and I think one of your sisters was watching it with us, and when Sylvester Stallone, also known as Rambo, went into the guy and took his collarbone out with his fingers.
That was dang.
Oh,
Yeah, no, like I felt my collarbones after that.
Um, is this First Blood you're talking about?
Last Blood.
Last one.
Oh, well, the First Blood. So First Blood is what, the second film or the third film?
No, the Rambo First Blood is, I think, is the first one. This is where the one where he's coming back from Vietnam. Okay. And I think the first Rambo movie was awesome because
First Rambo film is very good.
yeah, it gave props to the Vietnam vets.
Yeah.
And it
And
depicted
it did highlight the fact that when they came home, they were treated horribly.
absolutely.
They were absolutely, that's not fictitious. They were
No.
actually treated like prisoner or treason.
Right.
Like they committed treason.
Well, here's the thing, they were told to do something, okay? And they were made to believe to do something, and they did it, okay? Was it horrible? Yes. And we can go on and on and on and, bring Nixon into it and whatever. But it gave props to the Vietnam veteran who came back from the war, okay? Damn near, homeless, okay? So,
Homeless, dealing with PSTD that we
yeah,
didn't even know what that was.
right. And
Addicted to drugs, probably drinking and things like that.
right.
And
And
no real resources like they have today to
right.
kind of streamline these guys and get them back into society. It's shameful that we didn't even come up with this then.
I know. Well, in the movie John Rambo, he's coming back from the war and he wants to connect with one of his war buddies. Okay. He has nothing. All he has is a satchel. And he goes to his friends from the wars, home, and he wanted to know, hey, and I forget what his friend's name was or whatever. And the mom says, no, he died of orange, whatever it's called, Agent Orange and everything. And the look on his face was like, he lost another war basically, because that's all he had, to go to his friend, to connect with his friend and everything. And so he travels on.
but since we're talking about that scene, isn't there that then there's the scene where somebody throws garbage at him, that right? Like he's driving by, he's just gotten back into town, he might be trying to reconnect with his war friend or his war buddy, and somebody's like driving by and they literally throw garbage and it lands at his feet, which I thought was a very powerful moment.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it depicts on how they were treated. So he goes on his way. Then you have this gung ho sheriff, uh, that is just completely out of his mind. That doesn't want John Rambo in his town because he calls him a drifter or whatever like that. And and it provokes the bear in John Rambo, and they go out in this John Rambo versus this whole town because of this freaking cop that hates the military or whatever for whatever reason. But I think it's just a powerful story, and I think it's the best role that Sylvester Stallone has done, and he didn't do a lot of acting in it. Oh, you know what? Let me take that back. It was probably one of his best acting roles because his facial expressions, his demeanor was just like any of a Vietnam vet coming back from war. He did a lot of research.
It's very subtle. They didn't give him a lot of lines.
Yeah.
But he was doing a lot of kind of subtle nuance.
It was more organic.
And that's also, fried rice, when he watches movies today, it's got to be fast. It's got to be real fast. They don't do what they did in the 70s, where it seems longer. The movie seems longer than it probably actually is. It just things seem drawn out. There's more nuance to it. One of my favorite moments, I don't know which movie it's from the Rambo franchise. One of my favorite moments from Rambo, and I haven't seen all of them. I think I've only seen the first 3. But he's in wherever. He's probably Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore. He's wherever he is. And there's a Asian man firing on him with like a machine gun.
Oh yeah.
And the enemy gets him, or so they think. And so they think they've killed Rambo. And then all of a sudden he pops up with this rocket launcher bazooka, which is, I mean, there's bazookas and then there's this bazooka. And it's just like the biggest thing you've ever seen in your life.
Right.
And he's got this maniacal look on his face. Like, you thought I was dead, huh? And he fires this rocket launcher bazooka missile basically into the helicopter. It explodes, and of course he saves the day. But it's just the way they shot it, the way it looks, is so cheesy, over the top 80s.
Yeah.
And then of course when we talk about Sylvester Stallone, Rambo, Rocky, there's the two versions of them. There's the fighter, the club fighter, or Rambo, the mercenary, the guy who's living in the woods. And then there's the built out of like granite Rocky Balboa, who's now cut. He's got probably a 12-pack. He is almost all muscle. Rambo is he's got those, remember those, I don't know if the Ultimate Warrior got his inspiration from those bicep little, what are those things? Those little strings tassels that you wrap around. The tassels on the bicep, I think, comes from Rambo.
Yeah.
Because he would tie up his bicep. And I remember looking at the movie posters and I'm like, dude, that's not even humanly possible. Like, you're going to die.
It was real.
And I think he did suffer like damage from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, one of the problems I have, I've always had it with the Rocky franchise, is the fight sequences are so unrealistic. There is no way in hell a man could take that kind of abuse.
Right. Yeah.
He takes shots right to the head. I'm glad they actually decided to write that into the script, because there's no way he'd be able to be walking around I remember especially with Rocky 3, and we're talking about the MTV generation. I
50
mean,
concussions.
they do that slow-mo where Clubber Lang is coming in and he's like, boom! And it's right at the top of Rocky's head, right where the brain is. And then he loads up and he does another one and it's boom! And he's just like, I mean, and he never used any defense. I don't know why they even had those defensive drills, because he never uses any of them.
I know, because
if I'm Mick, I'm just looking at. I would have just been like, "What are you doing?" I mean, we spent 12 weeks going over defense,
and you're
not
watching get hit in the
any of
head.
it. I mean, what the hell, dude? But
you know what? Like, speaking of the Rocky franchise, I'll pose this question to you both: who is your favorite nemesis of the Rocky franchise? Fred Rice.
It's gonna be probably Drago, that guy.
Same for me too.
I think he did a good job.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because he was the taller one. He was the bigger one.
That's another thing that gets lost in the Rocky franchise is how short Sylvester Stallone is. He's not a tall man.
No.
And they were able to really kind of dance, like when they filmed it, they specifically filmed it so you really couldn't tell how tall he was, but he's a short man. Like
he is.
I would say for me, Clubber Lang I thought was a really great character.
That's a good one.
I mean, he kills. I mean, I don't want to ruin it for anybody if you haven't seen it, but you know what? Screw you. I'm going to ruin it.
You should have seen it by now.
He kills his manager. He kills his manager. And he just got some really great lines in it. Mr. T's great in that movie.
Oh, I mean, I love that movie with him in it.
He's got a great name too, Clubber
Lang.
He's from Chicago.
Yeah, and he's short too.
Yeah, he's not very tall either. And he has that bolo punch, I think they called it, or something like that, or a tiger punch. And I mean, it was just perfect. I mean, it. And he was smart to kind of put in these little touchstones, like Hulk Hogan, who becomes Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea, who's going to become a superstar. He was smart enough to kind of see that and get him in the movie. I know you don't like Hulk Hogan, and we can talk about. I mean, his acting is horrible in that movie. I mean, it's but Mr. T is great, and he was just coming aboard, and he was gonna be in probably the A-Team was probably not too far away. He's great in the movie. It's a great 80s movie. I mean, it's a signature 80s movie.
Yeah.
I remember when Rocky 4 came out. It was kind of one of these things, like you wanted to go to the movie to watch Apollo Creed die, because you were told that Apollo dies.
Yeah.
Before you knew that going in, and it was like you were. I remember watching that, and it's actually a very emotional movie, because you know it's going to happen, but you don't want it to happen. Like, it's a great little device.
Yeah, nobody
for the
wanted
audience.
Apollo Creed to die. I mean,
yeah, you don't want Apollo to die.
He went out on a sword, and that. Now, have you guys watched any of the Creed movies?
Okay, so, full disclosure, I have not seen any of the newer Creed movies. I saw the first one. I saw the first Creed, which is Rocky 1.
Yeah.
Or it's Rocky, but no, I think it is Rocky 1, because, and that's the part that really frustrated me, is like, oh, have you seen Creed? Oh my God, it's so great. I'm like, yeah, it's Rocky 1.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they're like, no, it's not. I'm like, yeah, it pretty much is. I mean, it's slightly different, of course. It's got
Sure.
a different character, and he's got a different backstory, but it's Rocky 1. He cuts him. He does the whole cut me Mick. I mean, they have to cut him so he can see. It's Rocky 1. I mean, he's starting out at the bottom. So it's Rocky 1.
Yeah. Now,
I think the difference between the Creed movies and the Rocky franchise is that the Creed movies use like real boxers. Like, I mean,
that's what I was going to say. They do.
They use actual legitimate boxers to be in this. And I don't mean to just be like stand-ins. I mean, these guys are acting. These guys are boxers.
And that's what you want in this new franchise too. Now I've seen all the Creed movies. I like the Creed movies. I like where they're going. I didn't see the third one with Jonathan Majors, which I heard he did a brilliant job in. That's on Fried Rice and I's list there. But Mr. Fried Rice, as we close, let me pose this question to you. Would you want to see another Rambo movie made?
No, actually, I don't even think they could, because I mean they possibly could, but it's come to that point where there's 5?
Yeah, I believe so.
There's 5, and it's just like, I mean, they didn't even need to make the last one.
Well,
but they did, and it was good, but I think they ended it. They ended it in a good place.
Well, here's what I would challenge you on. What if Rambo, another Rambo would come, all of a sudden Rambo had a child. Now his 30-year-old child, is, gonna take over his place or whatever, in whatever kind of storyline they come up with.
I don't think they could do that well.
Well, the problem with the problem with Sylvester Stallone, since we're talking about him, is that it was revealed in one of the last Rambos that he was arrested for black market. He was smuggling black market steroids into the United States or wherever they were shooting it. And
Brazil.
He was arrested for that.
Yeah, that was in Brazil.
They kind of said, "Hey, what's up, Sylvester? You're using steroids, and he's like, "Yeah, so what? You got a problem with it?" But so just so we're clear, if there was ever a doubt, steroids inspired the Rambo franchise. You don't have the Rambo franchise without steroids.
Oh, absolutely.
And in many cases, the last portion of Rocky was steroid influenced, but that's okay. We won't. I don't want to ruin anybody's good time, but I'm going to be the bearer of bad news. But
well, here's the thing: we haven't even touched, and we got to wrap this up soon. We haven't even touched the Expendables.
The Expendables is kind of Rambo-ish. So it's when you said you want to see a new Rambo,
exactly.
I personally do not want them to. I mean, do you really want to see? Let's say they did a new Rambo. They took the movie and they said, "Okay, we're going to cast John Cena as the new John Rambo."
I won't watch it.
And it's not his son. It's just, this is the new John Rambo. This is Rambo.
Right. Like Jason Bourne.
Yeah. Would you want to see that?
No.
Would you want to see it if I get John Cena out of it? Put somebody in there that you don't hate.
Well, there was talk, and I forget the actor's name is. He played in The Walking Dead. And he played who's the actor that played the Punisher in the series?
You're talking about the Punisher that just came out.
The Punisher, the series that was on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan something, I forget his name. There was talk that that was going to be Rambo's son, and he was going to do more movies.
John Bernthal is who you're talking about.
Yes, which I think would be good because I like him as an actor, and I think he has some similarities as Rambo, Sylvester Stallone, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a traditionalist. I don't really want to see them kind of rehash the Rambo franchise. I just don't understand why, and maybe I'm naive here. And if you want to wrap it up, we can. But why you can't just make a really good movie about like if you're gonna do Rambo, why can't you just make a really good movie and not have to worry about if it's a franchise or not? Like a great story, great actors in it, and I don't know. The problem with a lot of the Rambo franchise is that it's tailor made to be a franchise when
Right.
I want to see just a good movie.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what, and today's movie industry it's all about franchise.
Well, and I don't want to cut you off, but it's Fried Rice's fault. It's his generation's fault.
It is.
Why we even let him on this show? I think the reason we let you on this show, Fried Rice, is you are the epitome of everything we hate when it comes to pop culture. Not you person. I mean, we don't hate you. We hate what you represent. And I mean, we love you, and we wish you the best. I don't think you're gonna make it, kid, but maybe there's some hope if you listen to these podcasts, and maybe that should be the end of it.
But what I will say about Fried Rice, his generation is jacked up, but I am so fortunate that Fried Rice is not a part of that generation because he knows what the generation is and he refuses to be a part of it.
Well, you know what? I'll be rooting for you, Fried Rice.
Thank you.
I've been meaning to say this. Has nothing to do with Rocky. Can I say this?
Yeah. This is on the road
I don't
to
know
nowhere.
if any of you have ever experienced these things, but so anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge Doors fan, and I was listening yesterday to this. The keyboard player's name is Ray Manzarek.
Yes,
he did like this audio book about his time in the Doors, and so I'm listening to this audio book. Ray Manzarek, they're talking about the Doors. They play a little bit of the music. I turned it off and I went into this bar. What music was on in the bar when I walked in? The Doors. Is that come on? Am I the only one who's like, oh my God? It's not like I heard the Doors music and then another song, and then I went into the bar and heard the Doors. I heard the Doors literally walking in, and I was like, it took me. I'm like, oh my God, am I the Fried Rice? Is that not a weird coincidence?
Sometimes it doesn't even seem like a coincidence. That's crazy.
Am I a hot rod, the real hot rod? Nothing. Crickets. Jesus.
Oh, I'm sorry. What I fell asleep.
Forget it. It was, just edit this out of the broadcast.
No, this is organic.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's it. I don't want to talk anymore.
Yeah. All right, folks. This has been a great episode. If you are a fan of Sylvester Stallone, I think everybody should be. I'm sure a lot of people may.
Well, this will be something as we create a following, and that's what we really want to do with this podcast, is include your comments about Sylvester Stallone, your favorite performances, your least favorite performances. If you don't agree with our takes, that's why we do this, so we can have a dialogue. because these issues and these things that we bring up in this podcast are so important. They're so important to the dialogue of the world right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If we don't have this, we don't have anything.
Absolutely. And, you know, and here in the future, folks, you know, we plan, and, you know, might be new. This is probably news to the Assassin and Fried Rice, and wherever Cleatradamus is we are planning on doing a live podcast on our Family Proud, Family Strong network here in the near future, where we will have, you know, you, the fans, pick topics for us, you know, however long it takes, and go with it. So that's something that we're working on. So if you're new to the channel, hit the like, subscribe button, tell your friends. We do this as a hobby. You know, we're not, you know, meaning to monotonize. Look, I think. Oh, wait. Yeah, we haven't said what we were drinking. So I'll tell you what I'm drinking. I'm drinking bourbon and tonic water.
Sounds heavenly. What kind of bourbon?
It's called R&G, and it's $10 a bottle.
That's even better.
Could you try again? Yeah. First of all, Siri, I didn't ask you anything.
I'm just drinking Dr. Pepper.
Damn.
Yeah, I know.
Cleatradamus, what are you drinking?
I love Dr. Pepper. What about you, Fried Rice?
You know, I didn't drink anything, but earlier I was drinking some blackberry LaCroix.
What the hell is that? Is that seltzer soda or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh,
LaCroix.
I hate that crap. They'll serve it at like luncheons and stuff, and because it's a sophisticated drink, you can take that whole can of sophistication and shove it up you know where.
Oh, we've been on here for an hour. Oh my god,
that was great.
All
right, guys, I'm gonna leave. You guys want to talk about
your
favorite colors? Go right ahead.
No. All right, folks, thanks for listening to another Three Blind Mics podcast. I am your host, John J. the Real Hot Rod. We're leaving you with I forgot he is not here, the Assassin and Mr. Fried Rice. All right, thank you, folks.
The Three Blind Mics is sponsored by the Family Proud, Family Strong Network via YouTube and powered by the Digital Media Productions.